0.5 FM, Uyo. First, the top stories. Vice President Shetima to lead 2025 Hajj contingents to Saudi Arabia. Governor NYAKNNO inaugurates committee to facilitate harmony between Eastern Obolo communities and Sterling Petrochemical. On the foreign scene, United Nations halts food help in Sudan camp, warns thousands could starve. And in sports, Liverpool fend off Newcastle to go 13 points clear atop the English Premier League. We have details of these and other stories coming up shortly. Involving the state government, Sterling Petrochemical and Fertilizer Limited (SPFL) and Eastern Obolo communities to help facilitate amicable resolution of the lingering issues between the company and the host communities. Governor NYAKNNO inaugurated the committee in his office at Government House Uyo with a charge to them to establish the actual land size occupied by SPFL, work with the company to get a place for the displaced communities of Ikonta and Obianga, and to also work with the communities to ensure smooth and peaceful transition.
We need to work with Sterling to ensure that they relocate and work with Konta and Obianga. If they are relocating them, we need to find out where are they relocating them to, what are the facilities to be provided that will enable them have a new community. And we also need to work with the community to pacify them, to even agree to relocate. We all know that it's not easy to move people from their ancestral place for whatever reason. So we also know the sentiment attached to that movement. But for purposes of development, we need to work with the community, work with Sterling Petrochemical in a manner that we can do that and ease the pain for everybody. One of the things we said at the time was, please, the Sterling Petrochemical should not block all of the channels that the people pass through to their ancestral home until the provisions are properly made. Of course, if they've taken more land than what the government gave to them, we'll look at the compensations to be paid to the community, to the government. So this is what this committee is supposed to do.
He noted that the committee is expected to work towards finding a peaceful solution that would enhance peaceful coexistence between the host communities and SPFL, and directed them to present their report within 3 months. Governor NYAKNNO, who assured of continuous peace and security in the state, charged the committee to be neutral in their dealings in the overall interest of all concerned. According to our Government House correspondent Mfoniso Harrison, members of the committee representing government include Right Honorable Nsesian, Right Honorable Dokirian Akban, Ubong Udo Ukwang, Abraham Odiong, Commissioner for Labor and Manpower Planning, Commissioner for Internal Security, State Commissioner of Police, and the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Manpower Planning. Meanwhile, the state governor, Pastor NYAKNNO, has expressed the readiness of his administration to partner with the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, to successfully deliver on their RISE agenda. The governor, who declared this while receiving a delegation from UNDP led by a resident representative for Nigeria, LC Atafwa, on a courtesy visit to him at the Government House Uyo, noted that the state was open and ready to partner on the different thematic areas of their RISE agenda, ranging from agriculture to tourism, environment, rural development, women empowerment, youth empowerment, sports, power, aviation, transportation, housing, ICT, education, healthcare, and others. Governor NYAKNNO said the state was planning to host summits on tourism and power, adding that the government under his leadership was leveraging on the new international airport, Ibom Air, the ongoing International Convention Center, and hotels, as well as different tourism sites to boost tourism.
We look forward to improving and opting our game. Our real target is to, the next couple of years, truly make Akwa Ibom a tourist destination in this country. And just like you said, we believe we have all it takes to make it happen. The Ibom Airline, we have tourist sites, we have started work on our International Convention Center and Hotel. We're working hard again to change the mindset of our people. And so with all of this combined, we feel that we should be able to turn the corner, whether it is in agricultural tourism, medical tourism, benefits from the huge funding and dollars that we spend outside of the globe. That's really, for that reason, sometime this year, we'll be doing a tourism summit, and to be able to see all of the things we can harness and put a proper roadmap to actualizing the vision in turning around the state.
The leader of the delegation in her remarks said she was endeared to the state following the well-articulated development blueprint of the Arise Agenda, adding that the UNDP was ready to promote the vision of the Arise Agenda by focusing on the areas of agriculture, tourism, rural development, infrastructure development, energy, security management, and economic advancement.
Your Excellency, we are here today because we are very excited about your vision on Arise. And there is something that is very powerful about that name, because it's one that is connected to the vision of this state, which is a land of promise, that we are rising up and really moving forward with an agenda of hope, an agenda of prosperity, and an agenda that also takes this state forward, but also by extension the vision of this great country. And so we are here to see how best we can support that vision. We are here to, I think, mostly to listen to you on your vision, but we are also here to accompany the 5 points that you have on Arise, which is on agriculture and on tourism, also on rural development, on infrastructure development as it relates to ICT, on security management, but also looking at issues around economic advancement. That's why we brought our senior economist here as well to listen very intently and to see what we can do with you.
Our Government House correspondent Vanessa Harrison reports that the governor has directed his executive assistant and chief delivery advisor, F.M. Johnson, to liaise with the resident representative to fashion out specific areas of partnership, as he appreciated UNDP for the ongoing ICT hub at the University of Uyo, as well as their willingness to partner with the state government. Away from that, a public affairs analyst, Marvel Asin, has applauded the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Moeno, on the recent appointment of commissioners and special advisors into the State Executive Council, EXCO, describing it as an injection of fresh ideas necessary for the growth and development of the state. Asin, who made the accession on Tuesday during Members FM flagship program Melting Point, commended Governor Moeno for rejigging the state EXCO, stating that fresh ideas are a necessity for the smooth functionality of government machinery.
I would say the governor has done very well in terms of the team election, in terms of the Joseph saying as he encouraged it. When you want to look at the former EXCO, of course, they did well as the governor normally, because he would have just continued with them if not that he has to effect some changes. We also are aware that there are many ministries that were not performing up to the public's expectation. So no matter how one puts it, the rejig of the EXCO was quite necessary for us to be able to have a feel of new ideas in the system. So the governor, by reconstituting the EXCO and by the nominees, the process of doing so, you also would have observed with me that the 27 names that were presented, they all have very high profile. They all are very competent and very sound to handle any ministry that would have been given to them.
He highlighted the governor's prerogative of blending youth and experience and reshuffling of some returning commissioners to achieve optimum performance, noting that the mix of old hands and new faces will ensure stabilization, continuity, and balance of government.
And I want to further commend the governor for the balance that he has made. You will have observed that you have youths, young people in this EXCO, and you also have very matured, experienced people. Talk about Mr. Paul Bassi. He is coming in there with a lot of experience that the government will benefit from. Then you also look at the young people like Ubong Enyam, others that are there, you can see that the governor is looking at innovation in this new ESCO, that is looking at ways of bringing performance to its height. Because when you reconstitute an ESCO in this manner, I want to also mention the other part of it. You see, the returning commissioners, less than 40% of the ESCO, you have them coming back into the ESCO for stabilization, for continuity, for balancing. So you see him balancing it demographically, you also see him balancing it generationally, you also see him balancing it in terms of the kind of continuity he would want to achieve.
He expressed confidence in the governor's team's selection to deliver on his administration's Arise agenda, emphasizing that with the ESCO solely constituted by him, there is a significant scene. The United Nations World Food Programme, WFP, has temporarily stopped distributing food aid in a famine-struck camp for displaced people in Sudan's North Darfur amid escalating violence, warning that thousands of families could starve in the coming weeks. The move comes 2 days after medical charity MSF suspended its activities in Zamzam camp, which has been the target of repeated attacks by Sudan's paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF) as it seeks to oust the Sudanese army and allied forces. WFP's East Africa Director Lauren Bukera said without immediate assistance, thousands of desperate families in Zamzam could starve in the coming weeks. And outside Africa, the Pentagon yesterday said in a memo, United States will begin removing transgender troops from the military within 30 days unless they obtain a waiver on a case-by-case basis. The memo became public as part of a court's filing in a case challenging President Donald Trump's late January executive order that was aimed at barring military service by transgender personnel. According to the memo, the troops may be considered for a waiver on a case-by-case basis, provided there is a compelling government interest in retaining the service member that directly supports war-fighting capabilities. To obtain such a waiver, troops must show that they have never attempted to transition, as well as demonstrate 36 consecutive months of stability in the service member's sex without clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. Transgender Americans have faced a roller coaster of changing policies on military service in recent years, with Democratic administrations seeking to permit them to serve openly, while Trump has repeatedly sought to keep them out of the ranks. In sports, Liverpool yesterday continued their charge towards the Premier League title as a 2-0 win over Newcastle put them 13 points clear at the top of the table. On an evening where second place Arsenal dropped points in the goalless draw at Nottingham Forest, and Slot's side took full advantage at Anfield. Slot, beginning his 2-game touchline ban, watched from the stands as Dominic Szoboszlai opened the scoring in the 11th minute with a scuffed strike past Nick Pope. Alexis McAllister added to the jubilant atmosphere in the second half after he swept Mohamed Salah's pass high into the left corner. Newcastle sits 6th after finishing the game empty-handed, 3 points behind Manchester City in 4th and a guaranteed spot in next season's Champions League. And that's global news at noon on Memories 96.5 FM. But before we go, let's take a recap of the top stories. Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NYAKNNO, Professor Abdullahi Saleh, has announced that Vice President Kashim Shettima will lead the country's contingent for this year's Hajj. We also told you that Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Morno has inaugurated a tripartite committee involving the state government, Sterling Petrochemical and Fertilizer Limited, and Eastern Obolo communities to help facilitate amicable resolution of the lingering issues between the company and the host communities. And on the foreign scene, the United Nations World Food Programme has temporarily stopped distributing food aid in a famine-struck camp for displaced people in Sudan's North Darfur amid escalating violence, warning that thousands of families could starve in the coming weeks. And in sports, Liverpool yesterday continued their charge towards the English Premier League title as a 2-0 win over Newcastle put them 13 points clear at the top of the table. The news this afternoon was edited by Ofonise Abasi Johnson and assisted by the production team. For views regarding our news or coverage of your newsworthy events, you can reach us on email newsroom@memoriesmediang.com or call our newsroom hotline on 0909 000 0581. You can also follow us on Facebook at Memories 965 FM and listen to us from anywhere in the world on Radio Garden at Memories 96.5 FM. Log on to our website at www.memoriesmediang.com. And now let's take you down memory lane. On this day in 1991, United States President George Walker Bush ordered a ceasefire effective at midnight and declared victory in the Persian Gulf War, a conflict triggered by Iraq's invasion and occupation of Kuwait in August 1990. That's the news. Thank you so much for listening. My name is NYAKNNO Albert. Good afternoon.
That's the news. 96.5 FM. Estimated 1.3 million people die and 50 million sustain injuries every year from road traffic accident. So before you cross, look left, look